welcome to the podcast. I'm Risa.
I am Ariana.
And we are now differentiatable? Differentiatable? You guys can tell the difference between us right now.
Can tell the difference, exactly.
And we're the Krolmeister sisters. As a reminder, this podcast is rated T for teen for strong language and mature themes.
You don't like that? Well, you know. That's cool, but I don't know how you made it here. If you want a Nancy Drew related podcast that's clean, then head on over to Tammy Tucky's podcast, Unlocked, where she talks to people about things.
And stuff.
And then there's a bunch of other podcasts, but they're not, clean.
Clean. But a shout out to another one that I've found on Instagram, called It's a Clue podcast. Theirs is about the books, but it's another sister team. So, you guys want another sister Nancy Drew podcast that talks about the books instead.
Nancy Drew is the leading source for
sister podcasts.
Sister podcasting.
Probably not.
Sibling casting.
Sibling casts are probably pretty popular. And I blame the MacLeods. But that's not what we're talking about today. Ariana, what are we talking about today?
Today, we are talking about our top 5 learning games.
Yes, of course.
Of course.
So, Her Interactive back in January. We've been sitting on this topic since January because, But, it's still up on their website. But in January, they put out an ad. They put out a sale. It was a sale on their top 5 learn and play games. Their learn and play games it's fantastic because not only did they give a list of games that they deem learning games. Mm-hmm. Never stop learn and play games, right? They also gave reasons for them, and we're going to talk about this. And then we're going to talk about what actually makes for a good learn and play game. So, on their learn and play games, their number 1 learn and play game was Secret of the Scarlet Hand. The reasons, they say, are learn about the Maya civilization and its culture, operate a ham radio, analyze chemicals, create a plaster mold, learn about artifact provenance.
Use a ham radio.
Now operate a ham radio. You're learning. You learned what a ham radio was. To be fair, this game did teach me what a ham radio was.
I mean, I taught you the name from because...
yes. I didn't know the name for it. Talk to smugglers. Smuggle artifacts into the country. Deal with the black market. These are all learning things. So, why are these not good? Why is this not a good learning game, sister?
Okay, well, we'll start with the fact that it lacks any actual facts.
Yeah. There are some facts in that game. Those all are gods of some culture. Mm-hmm. They do, in fact, use some of the correct symbols for the numbers. They got the numbering system kind of right. Boole is a real game, and it did, in fact, use corn kernels for dice. So there's that. There's that. Pakal existed. They said
Nawaddle
was... Coatl is Nawaddle for snake.
Yes.
So.
And Nawaddle is an ancient Central American language.
Yeah.
However.
Yeah, leche is Spanish for milk.
True.
They got the numbers correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We got all of those. Right order and everything. Good on them. That's the lowest bar. That is the lowest bar possible. And that's it. That's like, there are straight up just facts in this game that aren't true.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And there's a lot about this game, and we've talked about this a lot, like really, but they don't differentiate between the Aztec and the Maya
don't.
A lot of it. Like most of the stuff, they are based on facts, these things, but some of them are just misrepresentations of facts.
Yes, absolutely. And so, things that were, like, embarrassing to have to unlearn. Like, especially if anyone hasn't heard this before on the podcast, I went into studying pre-Columbian Central and South America. And this was embarrassing.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff that is just completely false.
It did, however, help me when I was in that Chicano art class in college. Mm-hmm. That helped me remember that Tlaloc was in fact a god of rain.
Well, there you go.
I already knew that.
There you go.
I mean, he was an Aztec god, but at least that was a true thing that I had learned. So, there's that.
But, hey, also, and I know we've said this before as well, the Maya, not Mayans, the Maya did not disappear.
Yeah.
I don't know where Her Interactive got this idea that the Maya up and vanished.
It's one of those things that is repeated by a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And it's like, there's so much out there that they could have looked at to show that wasn't true. And yet they went ahead and published that in a video game and sold it.
An edutainment video game.
They sure did. It's just like this incredibly racist, like, conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
That they just don't exist anymore. Oh no, where'd they go? Off into space.
Yeah. It's crazy the way they went off into space, but we've known people today who have Maya blood, so...
And, like, their families still celebrate that culture.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
So it's just like, what the fuck? So yeah, that's their number one. Their number one learn and play game.
And their number one is one that I absolutely abhor. As far as a game, I like playing the game.
It's a fun game. It's a really fun game.
It's got great music. It's atmospheric. However,
it's racist at best.
Right?
Like,
it's racist at best. At worst, it's
at worst it's maliciously
conspiratorial,
racist, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's spreading misinformation, so it's ignorant at best. I'll put it like that. It's ignorant at best.
Yeah.
And it is malicious at worst. Like, they're just spreading this misinformation about people who still exist. They still, like, okay. So, that's number one.
Number one.
Number two is Nancy Drew, Midnight in Salem.
What?
Their reasons. They have 3. Just to point out there, which is far fewer than the last one. Discover the plight of the accused witches. Accused witches of what? They don't say.
The accused witches.
Take a tour of Salem and discern fact from fiction.
How can we if you don't?
Mix herbal potions and learn about ancient remedies. That's it. Those are your 3 things.
Additionally, I feel like those who practice, more natural herbalism, probably wouldn't appreciate them saying mix herbal potions.
Potions.
That doesn't feel educational.
Yeah.
Additionally, strongly disagree. We learn absolutely nothing in this game.
Yeah.
Not a goddamn thing is learned, except for...
We learn what Johnny cakes are.
Okay.
But I mean, most people already knew what Johnny cakes were.
Yeah.
But some people didn't, so they learned that.
Sure, there we go.
They learned about what ergot is.
There we go.
And how it could have been responsible for some of what happened in the Salem witch trials. But it's obviously not all of it, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's very charitable to think that it all happened because of the ergot.
Yeah.
That's a very charitable, view of the events.
What it is it's absolving them of their sins.
Yes.
These people, and we can't just focus on the girls who like in the Crucible.
It was the people.
It was
of
all
this
of the
town.
people. Yes, it was fucking Tegan and May's ancestor beating the shit out of his slave until she confessed to being a witch. That's what it was.
Yeah. So, and then to do the fucking whitewashing of what happened to Tituba.
Yeah.
Be like, and then she just, she just left and she learned how to read.
She left and
she had
got
children.
Married and
that's not
she got
what
bought
happened.
And raped by her slave owner. Who then, dropping hard R's all right, without any prompting, but she did not, this is not a good time for Tituba to be Tituba, you know?
Yeah, so the fact that they just kind of, write this as, it's just straight up lies to make white people feel better. Because if you actually told them what happened, all of these, these poor impressionable white children will know.
Oh no, they'll know that white people are historically awful.
Oh no.
That's just that is just too radical. It's too radical.
Yeah. Oh, that's obviously the critical race theory that the Republicans are afraid of. That we're teaching the children in school and preschool. Totally. We're the boogeymen. The side note, one of my coworkers has a mask that says ACAB, and I'm like, oh god, I want to be friends with you so bad. So yeah, that's their number 2 game. I'm just... I wrote in my notes.
It up that high because
they're trying to sell it.
Why is no one buying this? Weren't they wanting it for so long? And it's like, yeah, and then we got it and it was garbage.
It was bad. It's a bad game, guys.
Yet again, Ariana and Risa used their podcast as a platform to just shit on her Interactive.
Okay, I mean, I am trying to bully them right now because they still follow J.K. Rowling on Twitter. Yeah. And I have called them out about it 5 times now. And it's been a year and they're still following her. Which to me, I've specified in my tweets about it that she is a TERF. And if they are continuing to support her, the people who are in charge of Her Interactive Twitter they're basically just telling me that they think that's okay. And they endorse it.
But I think we'll get into that part in our next episode.
In our next episode. So, for those of you listening on Spotify and such, tune in next week.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay, so that's number 2.
So number 3 is Labyrinth of Lies. Ooh, thread your way through a maze of deceit in this epic Greek drama. Study Greek gods and symbols. Log artifact provenance. Translate Greek letters and symbols. Use a spectrometer to identify fake gems.
Spectroscope. At least they don't.
Yep.
Thankfully, they don't. They do not refer to it as a spectrometer because that would actually, like, that would actually be something that I would be able to, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. They have spectroscope. Ariana missed.
Yes. Yes. So,
ugh.
First off, they say Greek symbols twice. That 2 of these points are the same
Greek gods
thing.
and symbols. Translate Greek letters and symbols.
They're like, okay, however, have you considered symbols?
But look,
that's what we got in this
symbols.
game. We've got Greek symbols in this game. So yeah, we learn. What do we learn in that game?
I mean, they do touch on the myth of Persephone, basically.
Yes, the rape of Persephone is the actual name of the story.
Yes.
Obviously, you're not going to say that in a children's game. I get that.
No, exactly.
However, they don't really go into actually what the myth fully is, despite the fact that the play is about it.
Yeah, basically they're just like...
They get to the eating the seeds part, and then they just kind of gave up.
They're like, and then it's spring when you are here, and when you're not, it's not. That's it.
The end.
And Demeter's real bummed about it.
Oh, yeah.
Demeter's just like, my daughter.
Yeah, that's what happens. Also, let me think. We learn urn types, vessel types. I never remember them after I do the puzzle, but column types as well.
Yeah, I was going to say column, parts of architecture, with, including the, like... So that's some stuff. That's
some stuff. We learn the names of Greek gods. We don't really learn about any of the mythology surrounding them, but we know their names and their basic personality traits. No, only some of them basic personality traits. Others, we just know their names and what they're the god of.
Yeah. Like, we get what Hermes' personality kind of is.
Kind of.
Their interpretation, rather, of Hermes' personality.
Yeah. It's a thing. It's not great. So, I can't think of, like, anything. Like, they don't even go as in-depth on provenance in this as they did in Secret of the Scarlet Hand.
Yeah. No.
We learn more about provenance in Secret of the Scarlet Hand because in this, it's some gimmicky game.
Oh, and hey, you learn certain things about theater, right? Like how you do your light cubes completely out of order for some fucking reason.
Good thing we have, 7 lights? That's all we have. Or 9 lights or something
bonkers,
like that.
Especially a stage that size, which is an amphitheater. You're gonna be getting light pollution from other... Goddamn.
Yeah.
But overall, I think, the reason that's not a learning game is they didn't focus on Greece.
They didn't.
They had the opportunity to, but they decided to focus on puzzles for the mystery more. Yeah. So that makes it a relatively enjoyable game, honestly. The puzzles are kind of insane, but they're fun to do, overall. But yeah. I would not qualify this as a learning game in any way, shape, or form.
No. Definitely not.
As one of the many people who, as a child, went through a Greek mythology phase and then transferred that into a Greek history phase. Like,
yeah.
Woof.
So yeah, that's number 3. Number 4 on their list is Deadly Device. Which their reasons are mix dangerous chemicals. Let's just start there. This is how you learn and play. You mix dangerous chemicals.
Look, just mix dangerous chemicals and just, it'll be fun.
Use a 3D printer to make keys. But it's not to make keys.
It's not.
It's to make a part.
It's to make like a component.
It is.
Did the person writing this not bother to read what actually happens in this game?
Use binary code. Uncover obscure Tesla insights.
What obscure Tesla insights?
What does this mean? What part of the game are they talking about? Please, let us know in the comments. Because I don't fucking know. I honestly have no idea what that means.
Like and subscribe.
Leave a review. Build a circuit board from a schematic. That part is true. However, the schematic and the circuit board do not match up.
They do not.
As is evidenced by the fact that when I was playing the game with an actual fucking physicist who has made so many circuit boards, she looked at that circuit board diagram, the schematic, and went, I don't know what this wants.
It's like, ooh.
That's fucked up.
That. So basically, what I'm seeing is that we learn alternative facts in this game. Because
the next game, too.
It's just like... this is honestly the most egregious on this list, because it's not even just that it's not a learning game, it's that it is completely incorrect and does not understand anything at all. And
they do use silicon wafers for lithography. So that's, they did that. They taught us how long it takes for things to 3D print. We know where Tesla was born.
Yeah. So, Treasure in Royal Tower should be on this list. Because we learned we learned the year Marie Antoinette was born.
We sure do. We learn her name, too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Deadly Device.
Woof.
Just the Tesla insights.
Yeah.
I don't...
Obscure Tesla insights.
What are we uncovering? What Tesla insights are we uncovering?
Okay. Shall I introduce number 5?
Yes, number 5, please.
Number 5 is Tomb of the Lost Queen. Discover Egyptology. Like, be the first one to figure it out? Like, what does this mean, discover Egyptology?
For yourself. I mean, kids these days don't get to just go to the Scholastic Book Fair and buy that big book on Egyptology. Like...
Do they not?
I mean, they still have Scholastic Book Fairs, but
mean, Molly got one.
Oh, then I don't know.
Anyway.
Sorry, continue.
Translate hieroglyphics. But you're not actually translating hieroglyphics, I would like to remind everyone.
It's decoding.
You are not translating hieroglyphics, so... Decipher ancient clues.
That aren't real.
That aren't ancient clues, but,
sure. It's just a puzzle.
Clues.
Like, that's okay. You can say that, but that doesn't mean it's learning.
There are clues in every game. That's what happens
sure are.
In Nancy Drew. Uncover hidden chambers.
How is that learning?
That's not learning. That is not learning at all.
That's just playing the game.
Again, just a Nancy Drew game. Because otherwise, Curse of Blackmore Manor should be on here, and that's definitely not a learning game.
You learned what alchemy is?
Not really. I mean...
We didn't even learn about the rule of equivalent exchange.
Oh my gosh. And final bullet point, reassemble artifacts and solve ancient puzzles.
Yet again, ancient puzzles, those aren't real.
How do ancient puzzles and ancient clues differ? Because most of the puzzles are clues.
I mean... Greek symbols and Greek symbols, Ariana.
Greek symbols! So... Here's the thing. I would understand any other ancient queen being in this position, not Nefertari. The whole thing with Nefertari and Ramses were that they were literary. She was the first queen who could read and write. It's a whole thing, and so as such, everything's documented. Like, so much is documented. And they couldn't get it right. And they made it like she's some mystery.
Yeah, so they just... And then they present it as a learning game.
You're not
it's
learning.
Like, it's a fun mystery.
They fucked it up.
I enjoy playing Tomb of the Lost Queen. It's fun. Sure. But you're not teaching anything. Those aren't facts.
You would have done way better to fictionalize an Egyptian queen based on, like, several different queens and be like, oh, this is the lost queen of this era, you know?
Yeah.
But no. Even then, like, then again, still, the Egyptians documented the hell out of things.
And that's the other thing, that, Egypt still exists as well.
Right.
So this is really weird that you are just rewriting, like, their history.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're not fictional. These are real people.
Yes.
Like...
It goes back to the Maya disappeared, and it's like, no, they didn't. It's like, there's nobody at these temples anymore. Ooh, all the ancient Egyptians are gone. Well, yeah, because it was ancient days, man. They're not the Sheikah. They're not just hanging around.
It's just, oh my god. I get so heated about this stuff, especially, though, because... As someone who works with children, and I have to do a fair amount of lesson planning around what is educational to do with children, and how you can help them learn, and the different, like, ways their brains develop and stuff. Mm-hmm. And when you tell children wrong facts as if they are real facts, that's going to cement into their brains.
Yes. There's a whole thing in Legion about just teaching children wrong for the sake of having control over what they learn and how it damages them.
Yeah.
So, just, you guys, okay. And I think that's really one of my main sticking points with Her Interactive is... if you're going to present yourself as a learning game company, you cannot abuse that and use it to write your own history.
Yeah.
That doesn't work that way. That is monstrous.
It truly is.
If you do that, you are a charlatan.
I mean, it's just immoral.
Mm-hmm.
And just disappointing. I'll also just say that. It's just disappointing, especially because when we were children, we did take these things as facts. Like,
yeah,
we read these things and we had faith that they were telling us the truth. And they weren't. Yeah. And it's just an abuse of power, like you were saying. It's just...
Yeah. It's, like, if you don't want to present things truthfully, like, at the very least, have it be, oh, this is a fictitious telling, and then give them resources to teach them, just like... Oh, but here's something you can read on the ancient Egyptians. Oh, here's something you can read on the uncovering the Maya. Like, they could even just tell you, hey, there's a really cool, which I'll share with anyone. There's this really cool fucking docuseries on Disney Plus, uncovering the Maya or something like that, and it is so good because they're finding all these like ancient structures, and it's great. I used to watch it every morning before work, but yeah, like you can easily just supply them with the materials.
Yeah, and as chat brings up, the Dear America series did that well. Because they were, like, at the beginning of every book, would state that these are fictionalized events, these people didn't really exist, and then just to make sure people knew.
At the very end, there were, like, pages of, oh, here's some things that were true, here's some things that did happen. It was, that's why I loved those books. They actually, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were the first historical fiction I ever, like, latched onto and read as many of them as I could get my hands on.
Yeah.
And I think that's, like, that is the more responsible way of doing it, is to just upfront, at the beginning, be like, these are not actually, like, true. It's fiction. And you can say that, and it's perfectly fine, as long as you come out and say it.
Historical fiction is a thing.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, okay, what they did with Mickey Malone, right?
Yeah.
That was historical fiction, and it worked.
Diego Valdez, Dirk Valentine. Yeah. These things are historical fiction.
They are, and they worked really well. And that's, I think, part of why I, like, enjoy a lot of those games. Because, like, with Shadow Ranch, I think Shadow Ranch is more of a learning game than any of the ones on this list. Yeah. Because they do actually teach us about horses. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to learn about horses in this game. You have to learn, like, you learn about different measurements when making the cake. Mm-hmm. Like, you learn about the petroglyphs. We miss out an entire bit there, but...
You know,
you do actually learn about them.
We learn about them with regards to white people.
Yeah, we sure do. But I'm just saying...
You learn a lot about, like,
vegetables?
Geology.
Yeah?
There's a lot of great little geology tidbits. It's great.
Yeah.
It's lovely. They put a lot into rocks in that game, and I appreciate that about them.
But, yeah.
Yeah. I think I feel better now.
That's good. What do we think would qualify for a learn and play game? Like, what do you think? I think what we just said about Shadow Ranch is like... Yeah. That's a game where you're playing a game, and along the way, you're picking up facts, right? Yeah. That's what the game should be anyway. It's like...
It gets to a point in some of their learning games where I'm just like, it'd be more accurate for a kid to go play Assassin's Creed. Like... I don't know, it's just... I guess, is a good learning game.
I don't know. I think it really depends on what you mean by learning, right? Like, Oregon Trail was a learning game.
Yeah, honestly, that's the only thing I'm coming up with.
Zoombinis was a learning game, but not in the way that they're saying. Like, that's the other thing, is that learning doesn't just mean learning facts. You know what I mean?
That's true.
That learning games are also things that teach you stuff like how to solve problems, teach you stuff like...
recognizing patterns.
Yeah, that's all learning as well. Math is learning. All of that stuff that, like, Mavis Beacon teaches typing. That was a learning game. You know what I mean? Like, to market yourself as a learning game, you should be marketing something that, like, is actually teaching something. Mm-hmm. And most of the games don't actually do that. And that's okay. They don't have to.
Yeah, they're games.
They're games. They're fun stories. They're fun mysteries. They give you puzzles. Yeah. Those are fun. You don't have to say that they're learning games. I think it's basically just... It is just disingenuous to market yourself as a learning and as an edutainment, right? Mm-hmm. And not actually teach anything and just pretend to.
Yeah, it's really it's false advertisement if nothing else. I mean,
it sure is. We're getting very heated about this, but that's what we think.
Yes.
If you guys have any actual, you like how I'm just like, I have to end this episode.
Yeah. Just, nope. Done.
Otherwise, we're just going to spiral.
Right.
But if you guys have, like, ones you think really qualify as learn and play games, I would love to hear them. If you tell us on our Discord, our Twitter, our Instagram, those are the 3 things that we most check.
Yeah.
But you can also tell us on Facebook. I sometimes look at Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and our fancy website, krolmeistersisters.knifefightclub.com.
You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. And in them there are places you can leave reviews and be like, hey, these girls are right. Hey, don't call them girls. Hey, I'm just saying, they talk about learning things. Yeah.
I mean, that would be an interesting review.
It would be a terrible review.
It would be a terrible... But you guys can leave it anyway. We're cool with that.
Yeah.
If you would like to support us, you can subscribe to us on Twitch to get access to our numerous emotes, as well as Podcast Night VODs and the backer channel on our Discord. Or you can support us over on patreon.com/KrolmeisterSisters to get access to Podcast Night VODs, the backer channel on our Discord, stream cat pictures, and you can tell us what to talk about.
Ooh.
So yeah, as a reminder, I'm Risa.
And I am Ariana.
And we're the Krolmeister Sisters, and we're asking you guys to stay sleuthy.
Communism sisters.